live on YouTube.
Didn't have her laptop, right? So
as well. I'll leave it on for a minute. Y'all will probably hear me talking over it. I normally don't talk during shows, but with YouTube, I kind of need to.
And that's going to turn people off.
So,
the core of this country.
Hey, everybody.
This has nothing to do with me.
Welcome to our YouTube show. We need to figure out something to name this program.
The U.S.
Like Pascal's the Pascal show. I don't know what we should call this. So I'm open to suggestions from you guys.
Next Thursday, I know it's like
and a few more people get in here. We can talk about the cell towers and a few other things.
That is the number. And once we borrowed all that money to pay our
yes, it looks like the front of the lights actually come on too.
Don't forget to do that.
More or not. And what happens? The Democrats are screaming, you got to raise it. The Republicans are getting they can get spending cuts and maybe some more concessions. But it's the lobbies.
We can change the colors.
That can really send us into a bad place that we haven't been in recent history.
Y'all don't want to see the record players are fine. That's what you want to see. The record collection.
You know, that's a good the just in case.
Yeah.
Maybe something like Justin on the case or
I'm not recording when we're watching all this. Huh?
Justin on the case.
Something like that.
Like I'm just in on the case.
That's what we call the show.
Now,
yes, I know it looks like newscasting with that banner. I like it. What's my favorite record? I depends on my mood. My most valuable record is Little Dicky, though. Okay, so
misplaced sense of strength and influence.
Somebody's calling us Julissa. All right, so we've got 200 people in here. So let me go ahead and see if I can pull up this because this is very interesting. I think. Let me pull up Moscow.
Just Google it. The economists are already talking about this.
Let me pull up Moscow, then I'll get it shared. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to scroll through the United States right now.
Mortgages,
there we go. There's Idaho.
Credit card rates. That's hard already because the rates are already going up. See, that's the point. We don't have, like we did in 2013, like zero.
Find Moscow.
For lending, and then obviously a VIG was added on that for you and me, but still.
There's Coeur d'Alene, so we're getting close.
In this inflationary environment, it could cascade the effects so quickly to affect so many more
this
people.
Just in, I like it. Or just in with Justin.
This is what's going to happen, and this is where we want to go.
We need to save some of these. These are great.
You guys, we need to save these. Don't let us forget them.
Okay.
We're gonna like screenshot these.
Okay, I gotta scroll up and find.
The opportunity would be that the hysterics bring out the reasonable on the right and left to create a coalition that can defeat the crazies.
But
we need it for a while, but they've been time to teams. But maybe that will fracture.
Somebody asked me today to do a cameo today, and I was like, like for somebody's birthday, and I'm like, I'll happily do that. I'm gonna try to do something cool with it. Zero-sum binary game. All right, here it is. Cool. I can show now.
It's not a creature of law. It's a perverse cultural development that every major leader we've had in different periods of our history.
Are you live on YouTube right now?
I am live on YouTube.
So here we are, stuck in the middle again.
Justin with Justin. I love these. Oh my God.
Stuck in the middle. But luckily with you.
All right.
And then we can start doing our merch for real.
So watch this, Alyssa. This is where it gets really cool.
Worst of us to event something better. You know, our culture oddly often relies on crisis to bring out the best of us. I've seen it many times in many iterations.
I think the only thing you pay for is
I'm paying for the streaming service.
That's my last
for like
before I go to you.
Stream thing.
It is about party has to surrender to politics, to our collective. You need to not only
all right, this is not how I want to be presented. I want to be much smaller. There we go.
Which happens anyway.
All right, cool. So here's what I'm going to show you.
Things can get out of control.
So we know that Bryan has AT&T. It's an AT&T number. Let me see if I can pull this out. There we go. It's got an AT&T number. So as we scroll, let me scroll in here for you guys.
And I think Congress won't be able to fix its own.
Yes, I can't. Would y'all rather keep Cuomo on, or would you guys rather me?
What are your thoughts? 1-844-968.
Would you rather me?
20?
Huh?
Dusty in the
There,
control room.
can I do it? I don't know.
She doesn't know how to work this setup. Would y'all rather cast the YouTube thing?
All of our systems went bonkers. A minute
Okay, they're saying yes.
Okay, yeah, I agree. It's
a lot.
I'm overstimulated.
It's a lot. They might. I can mute this. So yeah, let's do it. Let's do this. Yeah, it's a little overstimulating. I was trying to wait for Olivia, but that's fine. I'm sure Olivia will get a copy of the clip. Mute until Olivia. I'm turning it on this thing. Like, why is it so loud? So terrible.
Is it gonna wake the child?
No, it's not gonna wake the child. It's just gonna vibrate the entire house.
so loud.
Okay, let me.
Is it gonna wake the child?
There you go. Have to mute ourselves.
Yeah,
Now
do
get
not
Alyssa
wanna
to
hear
sing.
my mouth.
Okay, so now this is what we're looking at. So you can, it's weird. This is weird. So anyways, if you look right here, these towers are the AT&T towers that he would have pinged off of. These are the towers that serve Moscow. So let's do this. Search 1122 King. Come on. 1122 King Road, Moscow, Idaho. All right. So I guess, yeah, this Queen Road to this King Road right here, if y'all can see where I'm putting my mouse. Okay. So we're going to scroll slowly out from there. This is the closest tower. So this is the one that would service their area. Okay. This is the other one. And the next closest AT&T tower is in Pullman, which we're going over here. And it's right here. I don't remember his address to know. So anyways, now let's go a little bit further in with this, okay, and show you. So as we're looking at this, I'm going to scroll out, okay. This is where the two towers are. This is where the house is. This lower tower is the one that would most likely be servicing the King Road Tower. And this is Pullman. So this is the typical route that somebody would take to get back. Takes about 10 minutes straight shot. Now, the reason they're able to ping Bryan that evening is that the route that he took back, he didn't go from Moscow back to Pullman, just this straight shot right here. He went from here all the way down. So you can see the towers that would have grabbed him on the way. The reason I was saying that, for the most part, it's going to be real hard to say, like, argue it, is like out here, especially, it's real damn remote right here. Could he have roamed off another tower? But maybe, but probably not. Sorry, no, it's a little small. So, and his phone picked up the Wi-Fi, which we learned tonight. So, which is interesting. So that's kind of what happened. But he took this long way right here, and this is, we're going to talk about the knife a little bit here in a second too, or my theory on the knife. And actually, so I'm going to put this comment up too here, because we're going to talk about that. Sorry, Shannon, I'm using your comment. So anyways, these are the towers that he would have pinged off of. But in this area here, this long area, the reason, this 3 times as long drive that he took, this roundabout way, there's a national park in here, and there's a river in here. So, or a stream, lake, river, something like that runs through this area. I have to find it. I don't want to lose what we're doing. So yeah, there's a state park. Annie from 10 to Live. Yeah. State park. I think that somewhere in this state park has the knife. That is my opinion. So, any questions on that? How did Alyssa and I meet? We actually met in college. That's a different story. That's a different story for a different live. But I will tell you this: we actually, for a lot of y'all who are new, who don't know us, our wedding was the pilot episode for a TV show. So for what that's worth to you guys, are you monitoring the TikTok comments too, or do you want to do that?
I'm just looking at TikTok.
Okay.
What should I be doing?
I'm just monitoring the comments. I'm not really looking at it. But if they have any questions, could they use dogs and search parties to find the knife? Potentially, but if, potentially, depending on what he's done. But it'd be hard, and maybe they are looking for it. So I think the knife was there for a night, then he hit it permanently the next day. This is a good point. I think the knife was there maybe for the night, then he hit it permanently the next day when his phone was off for those 3 hours. That's a good speculation. The TV show was called Saving the Swanderosa, or the Swanderosa. The Swanderosa was a place. We got married in Texas when we lived in Texas, and you actually can get to. You can actually go watch, if you want to bore yourself for 20 minutes, really, because there's no commercials. You can go to my link tree in my profile, and you can get a link to the show and watch it. 2011, yeah.
We were babies. Silly
So because he
little-
got rid of it the same night, he gets pulled over too much to keep it. That's true. He got pulled. He had a couple of traffic stops in Washington. He had 2 in Indiana alone.
Mhm.
So that's a good. That's good. That's a good theory. So any questions on the? I've seen the neighbors talk about Nancy Grace. You know, the Nancy Grace thing. Let's chat about that real quick. I'll take this down. Okay. So the thing about, let me move this a little bit. People, when all of this was going on, that's weird.
That is
I
strange.
don't like that. That's off-putting. My face on a 100-inch screen behind me is very off-putting, guys. But anyways, people wanted the attention, national attention for this case, and they got it. Nancy Grace reporters, whether you like them or they don't, they bring coverage, they bring awareness. You know, the thing about somebody like Nancy Grace, you know, a lot of people that Alyssa and I have discovered, and I think a lot of y'all as well have discovered that with this case, outside of social media, there's a lot of people that don't necessarily know about it, right? And so, and, you know, unless you're on TikTok or you're on, you know, Insta or something that's really talking about it, when you have like not even Banfield, but somebody like Nancy Grace or Dateline or 2020 covering this, okay, the table was a little extra, but yes, that's what she did. She wanted to sit down for her thing.
She's just extra.
She's just extra. She's a little sensationalist, a little bit of a sensationalist. But you know, for people to get the awareness now, people like Nancy Grace, like Dateline, like 2020, they bring a whole different audience to cases like this. So yeah, John Walsh. Well, John Walsh himself has a very, very challenging, sad story. So I'm looking at like I said, I've seen either watching me on the thing. It's weird. Yeah, she is older. She probably does need to sit down. Bryan Enton doesn't have time to sit down. Like Bryan Enton can be in Pennsylvania and Moscow, Idaho at the exact same time. I don't know how he does. And in Florida. That guy works real hard. Yeah, I get they have this. I know the sign. They said they want her gone, but
Someone said that was photoshopped.
Someone said it was
I
photoshopped?
don't know if it is or not.
Either way, I know that a lot of people. I know that like there were certain establishments. I think the Corner Club or Corner Bar and a few others. Like, I mean, they made statements that they want the press gone, but the press. If it wasn't for the press, they might not have found out a lot of the information that they found. So it's really one of those things. It's kind of a double-edged sword because, yes, the press can be a bit of a nuisance. I totally get it. But they bring a lot of value and awareness to cases like this, you know. Olivia's on apparently after the break. So let me see if I can go back to this real quick. And if so, I'll turn this thing around. Oh no, this is I gotta go to YouTube TV. Y'all saw Miss Rachel. That's what we do. That's how we do it around here. That's how we do it around here.
A lot of Miss Rachel in this house.
Yeah, I didn't know about Nancy's fiance being unalived, or we can say murdered on this, but not there. Did you know that about her? Nancy Grace's fiance was brutally murdered.
I don't think I did.
Yeah.
No, that's it.
So supposedly Olivia's on after the break. So if so, I will turn YouTube around so y'all can see Olivia, and y'all are already watching it there. And then after Olivia's done, I'm going to go straight over to YouTube exclusively because TikTok has certain words that you can't say. So anyway, well, I'm going to see it because it's on break right now, and then we will switch back around. They want to see you. Abby says they want to see you.
Me?
Yeah.
Like,
Abby says we that she's speaking for everybody, and I don't know if everybody is in agreement on that, or Abby might be we.
Blanket. I'm in like Friday night hibernation now.
I'm actually surprised she's not in the new massage chair.
Yeah, I'm afraid it'll make too much noise.
No, it'll be fine. People just think that we have like life support in the corner. Totally fine.
I'll just do that.
YouTube is the same name as on here. It's Justin on TikTok. I don't know how to explain how to see the comments on YouTube. I use a streaming service. Likes on mine say 1.1 million on this one.
Woo-hoo. Yeah, you almost don't want to.
Okay, a lot of people are saying they're all in agreement. It is a we.
It's a what?
It's a we. They want to see you.
Why? I'm
There
like
you
all up in
There
here
you
on my
go.
phone. You can't even see me. Hi guys.
She's hiding.
I've already got like makeup off. I don't want to be on.
There you
I'm
go.
not a. Justin likes being on camera a lot more than I do.
Livy's on. I'm turning it for y'all.
Ooh, Olivia.
The suspect was arrested. My friend Olivia Betty and I have the honor of meeting the Gonzalez family.
Alexa, turn off theater.
If you guys know anything, please contact me. It's important. If you live in an area and they welcomed us into their home.
We haven't heard the date of death on there.
Their daughter, Kaylee Gonzalez, followed me on TikTok and shared my videos with her family, which is why her father, Steve, reached out to me a few weeks ago. This interview is bittersweet and personal.
That comes from not so major media organization, but a young woman named Olivia Vitale. She is a TikTok influencer. Kaylee Gonzalez, as she just said in the clip, obviously one of the victims from the Idaho College University massacres, was actually a fan of hers. And as a result, but not only because of this, I think Olivia sells herself short. The Gonzalez family trusted her because they knew that she was someone that at least Kaylee trusted. But she earned their trust in other ways and wound up making this documentary that just dropped yesterday, honoring Kaylee and talking with the family about this experience. Here's another look.
My niece called me and she was freaking out and she said, Christy, have you talked to Kaylee? And I said, yesterday, like last night. And she said, yeah. And she was just bawling. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she said, I think Kaylee's dead. And I said, well, what do you mean? And she
Just dropped.
She said there was somebody just called me and they lived down there. She said there was a party last night and Kaylee, somebody went in and shot a party and Kaylee was shot. I was like, what? And I just threw my phone.
TikToker, filmmaker, real estate agent, Olivia Vitale joins us now. Olivia, thank you for taking the opportunity.
Thank you for having me on your show, Chris.
So what brand of Italian is your family? Do they go with Vitale? Do they go with Vitale? Do they go with Vitale? How do they say their last name?
Vitale or Vitale, either one is fine.
They're always messing up our names, the Italian names. But you know, good for you, except
Yeah.
I think you sold yourself short
Olivia's
there
not
a
Italian.
little bit, and I want to address that. Because I've talked to Mr. Gonzalez and we've dealt with his family a good amount. They have trust issues when it comes to this investigation. It started very early on, and it's not unusual for a victim's family, and it may have been exacerbated here by time and not knowing certain things and not getting information that started to come from outside sources, including you. And you've developed quite the bond with them as a result, right?
Mm-hmm. Yes, a few weeks ago, Steve reached out to me, and it turns out that Kaylee followed me on TikTok, and she watched my videos and shared them with her family. So this is a personal connection, and we've been in touch in the past few weeks, and they welcomed me into their home, and it's been an honor to meet them and help bring awareness to their daughter's case.
And people will hear that and say, wait, how did Kaylee follow her and watch her videos about her own murder? No, you started with Gabby Petito, and you did some field work on it. You went down into different locations that were relevant. You found a water bottle that you believe and the family believes may have belonged to Gabby, and that was very meaningful to the family. And that's what Kaylee and many others were paying attention to. How surprised were you, and how quick was the growth of your following that is now over 1 million?
It was pretty surprising. It happened fairly quickly, and it just seems like it's my calling to help missing people and victims and their families.
Now, what is your skill set? How do you know how to find anything that's going on? It's one thing to go down and walk around in a field and find a water bottle, which is a great little piece of personal industry. But what do you bring to the table, and how did you develop those skills?
Well, one thing I do bring to the table is bringing awareness to cases. With my following, I have a lot of exposure, and all it takes at the end of the day is for one person who might have seen something to see possibly one of my videos and notice something and call the tip line. And that's what I can do, is just bring awareness and help cases that are slowly dying or becoming cold get the exposure that they need.
Why? Why true crime? Why are you one of these new sleuthers? What is it about these? You could be obsessed with so many different things in our culture as a pursuit when you're not selling real estate. Why this?
True crime is something important to me because it's about helping and making an impact in the world. I feel like it's my duty, and this gives me passion. It gives me something to live for, and just to feel like I'm making an impact in the world.
You said in one of your descriptions in the documentary that you and Mr. Gonsalves shared a moment when the suspect's picture came out, and you both said, "This is the guy. This is the man." Do you believe that? Do you believe that this is the person responsible? And do the Gonsalves family and or you share any questions about anybody else being involved, or the question maybe not being as solid as is assumed?
Personally, I do believe that the suspect, Bryan Kohberger, is responsible. I can't speak on behalf of the Gonsalves family, but I personally think it is Bryan. As of now, I believe that he was the only one who did this, but again, it's the early stages and we're not sure exactly.
What is your biggest question that remains that hasn't been answered?
My biggest question is, why did he do this? And did he ever meet any of the victims in passing, possibly at a restaurant? We know that Zaina and Maddie worked at the Mad Greek. They had vegan options. Bryan Kohberger was vegan. It's possible that maybe he met the girls maybe at a bar. There's so many unanswered questions, and I believe that there is a moment in time when their paths crossed. It's very possible, and that's the question that I have. Did they ever meet in passing?
That is absolutely, why is such a confounding thing in many of these stories, but it's interesting about perspective. And what I think, this new animal in the media midst of the TikTok sleuther, and I don't mean animal in a bad way, I'm an animal too, we're in the same jungle, is that you bring a citizen's perspective to it. Like for me, I am completely focused on the timeline and the forensic evidence to back up the identification. Because as a lawyer and an investigative reporter, they can't make the case. If they can't figure out the timeline and make sure that there's no variable that can become reasonable doubt, and they can't connect him with something better than genealogy, they have no case. But why is absolutely more of a human interest. And I'm glad that you're shining a light on that. You're doing it responsibly. And more is not always better in the media, but the cream always rises to the top. And I wish you continued success.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
I look forward to seeing what you do next, Olivia. Thank you very much. All right, up next, more on the Idaho case, okay? There are a lot of things about this that are bizarre. I've never had a case where there was a closer connection between a victim's family and someone like Olivia doing this online as a passion pursuit, more than they had a relationship with any of the investigators or the media. Things are changing in our culture, okay? Now, there's still questions that have to be done.
Olivia, she has
just banging out the facts. And this timeline and this DoorDash delivery at 4 in the morning raises questions. That doesn't mean doubts.
I'm going to do that, and then I'm going to turn this around. Alexa, turn on theater. All right, guys. Olivia did great. I'm very proud of her. She is amazing.
Yes, so good.
She is. I'm gonna shoot her a link to come on, be a guest, and she may or may not come. She will probably not come, but I'm gonna try to do it anyways. See if I can. a second here. Copy that link. See, so this is why I like this. And she may tell me no. But all right, guys. So I'm going to be getting off TikTok now completely, so we can continue the discussion on YouTube, so I can show this stuff. If you guys want to jump on over there, please feel free to do so. It's Justin on TikTok and also YouTube. You can get to through the link tree in my profile as well by going to the link tree link and clicking the very top link. Yeah, I'm on YouTube. I'm live right now. And thank you everybody who's followed for 1.1+ million likes. It's amazing. And I'm going to try to con Olivia to coming on. So we'll see y'all over there.
Bye.
All right. Okay. Give me 1 second here. All right. So now let me see if I can con Olivia into coming here. Now that I have my phone. Bear with me 1 second, guys.
I could live you on TikTok.
You could. What do you mean you could live me on TikTok?
Like I could.
You could live me, sure.
If I don't know if that would provide any.
You might get something. All right. We'll see what Olivia decides to do. I've been pestering her about this. All right, we'll see what happens. Send her a link. We'll see what happens. Okay. Yes, please like the live YouTube. I am live on YouTube, Twitch, and Twitter at the moment. She's texting me right now. We'll see what she does. All right. So we talked about the there was a couple of things that we were going to talk about. We talked about the trail, the pings. What else do you guys have questions about? I have no idea how to like a live on YouTube. I am still new to YouTube, and I'm actually not on YouTube itself. I'm on like something called StreamYards, which allows me to stream to multiple different places. That being said, okay, yeah, we can talk about the Papa comments, sure. It's to me when I ended, it showed 1.1 on my end, so but that I felt like it kind of stopped there. So we'll see. Where are you going?
Over here.
You're going over to the chair. Okay. I wonder if anything will come out between now and June. I would imagine that it will. I think that they're going to start releasing some stuff. And yeah. We'll see what Olivia was typing and then she stopped typing. So I don't know. She texts, she comes on. Great. Did you stream 2020? No, I did not stream 2020 because we streamed Dateline. I might be able to do 2020 on a different day as a past one. I want to make sure I get y'all's questions here. Okay, somebody says to like, you have to pull the comments down, then press the thumbs up. Okay, cool. If you want to start an Unsolved podcast, have a case I'd like to talk to you about, do I just message you here? Cinnamon, you can email me. Let me see if I can respond to you. I don't know. I'll type in the comments my email address. You can shoot me over. Olivia's just texting back. Hold on. She might come on, but she's tired. So, what about the roommate Bethany? Here's the thing. I'm at like 22. I'll tell you exactly what I'm at hours wise. So Bethany, is hasn't really said anything. Sorry, that's Alyssa in the massage chair, by the way. That is what the beeping is. Bethany hasn't really said much of anything, and I think that the roommates haven't really said much for several reasons. I think one is they probably were told not to say anything, and I think on top of that, you got to think they went through something incredibly tragic. So if you keep pressing buttons, it'll sound like a monitor in a hospital.
It was just like the cat.
Can I show them you? Look, this is what she's doing, guys. Move the ring light out the way here. There we go. This is my Christmas present that arrived yesterday, and she has officially used it more than me.
Yes, I'm gonna take a nap.
So, But I think that's what happened, and they might be covered under the gag order as well, as Judy has said. So, but yeah, I was going to tell you guys how. That's what I'm trying to do here.
Keep the lights off.
Was Bethany in the house? Yes, she was. She was in the house. Trying to get an answer to a couple of y'all's questions. Oh, I don't want to do this two-step verification. Okay, I don't know where I'm at right now currently on YouTube. Abby says that you could be in that chair and talking. Well, listen in that chair. She is relaxing. That is it. Search warrant still released in March. You think? Maybe. I think that they are going to start. I think that they are going to release things. I know that Chief Fry had made mention that he was thinking about or toying with the idea of releasing the 911 call. Yeah, that's exactly what happened. Will we be able to see any of the? Do you think we will be able to see all? Sorry, where'd it go? All the evidence in the preliminary and the trial. Probably, except unless there's things that. Unless there's some things that they end up getting thrown out. Do you believe Bryan cut himself shaving, or do you think it was some sort of jailhouse justice? I think. Okay. Well, I did this yesterday. I'll show y'all. Fine. To find you, what they. Hold on a second. There it is. I want this. This is the picture I want. All right. Bear with me, guys. I'm going to show you something. Oh, that's too small. Why can't I find a larger image? Damn it. Okay. We're trying here, guys. All right, well, this is what we're going to have. Okay, let me see if I can show you this. This is the razor that they give you in a situation like that. So I know it's going to be small, but that's it. You get that you get that. Okay. So if you can cut yourself, if you can shave with one of those and not cut yourself, then mad props.
Taking like chunks out of my body.
Yeah, I've taken chunks out of my face. She said she's taken chunks out of her body. This stuff, these big single blade razors, man, these things are no joke. They are self-inflicted wounds. It's guaranteed when you use one of those. Now, I think you do get shaving cream. Yeah, you choose to update the chat capabilities.
Yeah, honestly, I like TikTok Live so much better than YouTube Live.
So imagine where I got a Mach 5. I'm so confused by the question.
Like the Mach 5 razor?
Somebody said race car. Oh, razor, probably, yeah. Okay, that's what they're trying to say. I'm like, race car? What? No. Melissa's having a good time over there. The gag order doesn't cover the roommates, just investigators, law enforcement, and agents. Yeah. Prosecuting attorney or defense attorney. Maybe he's dead. We'll get him something off the commissary. But no, I don't think. Going back to the jailhouse justice thing, I don't think he's by himself. He's not with other people, so there's not going to be really any jailhouse justice per se. I don't know if she's going to come or not, Olivia. I'm working on it though, guys. I'm working on it with her. Oh, that's not okay. That's what you're talking. You want to talk about the Mach 5, a speed racer car. Okay, so yeah, it just kind of with the Gillette makes something like that. I don't know. That came from Home Goods. Is he getting a trial? Probably. He's unless he pleads guilty and they just sentence him, then that's going to be, which I don't think is going to happen. Yes, he will have a trial. So on June 26th, 2023 at 9 a.m., he will begin his preliminary trial, and we will definitely be talking about that. I did not read all the 35-page airmail doc. I did read, actually on last night's live, I did read a lot of things from that. I haven't talked about the airmail thing on a TikTok video because it's not confirmed. So I don't like to share things unless they've been confirmed. It is very graphic as well, so it probably would get taken down. But it's not an easy read. It's definitely not. Yeah, well, I mean, they'll give you they'll give you, I mean, you get brand new razors, but I guess they probably don't replace them that often, so it could be very dull. Okay. Christina says she used Dollar Shave Club and love it as a woman. It's the best shave ever. Just so you're aware. I actually have a bunch of Dollar Shave Club as well. I got so many blades because I really only have to shave here and here, so they last me a long time. But so I have some that, I mean, I haven't had to get a refill from them in literally a year and a half, because I had gotten so many. Is it true about the DoorDash delivering? Yes. In fact, it's not confirmed, but my personal opinion is the black luxury SUV that the neighbor supposedly saw. I believe that could have been the DoorDasher given the time. Not Air Document, Air Mail. It's a news publication, and they wrote this very long piece about it. Oh, hey, Jeremy. Okay. No, it's not a document. It's a news piece that they did, and it's pretty graphic. So yeah, that's why. Yeah. So what else do y'all asking some great questions? The party on Friday night with 150 been said before tonight. I don't think so. Had you heard that they had a party on Friday night prior to this evening?
No, I've not.
No, I hadn't heard that until tonight either. But I mean, I'm not overly surprised because it was a party house. Do I think they will share more details about the crime scene? Probably eventually. How do they know Bryan connected to the Wi-Fi? I don't know. Tonight was the first time I had heard about that, Kate.
Oh, I had heard about that.
You had heard about that?
He got so close he would ping their Wi-Fi.
Is that what they said? Oh, yeah, but wouldn't you have to have? I mean, I don't know how that works.
I don't know. Is it like towers? Like if you try to connect, like if you brought your, well, I don't know. Like if somebody comes over and they've never been on your Wi-Fi and it still gives them the option to be on it, does that count as like a ping? Does that make sense?
I don't know. If somebody techie in here knows that, I would love to know the answer to that. Not really any updates at this point, David. Not since the hearing the other day. There really hasn't. What we did stream, not on YouTube, but on TikTok, we did stream Dateline. Does anyone see? So, yes, I remember seeing the photos of Jack in the Box. I don't know if from what's understood, he wasn't. He came down the stairs. I wish I still had that video.
Which video?
The one that showed the layout of the house and how he came through.
Do you not have anymore?
I do have. Let me see if I can find it. Hold on.
It's on your TikTok.
It is on my TikTok, and I might have sent myself it. So, hold on, guys. Oh, I do have it. I do have it. We're just gonna watch this real quick, guys. Okay, stop. Pause. Okay, let me share this with you guys. Okay. So let me see if can I make this thing full screen? No, I don't want to report myself. Okay, let me turn up the volume here. We'll hit play. Y'all can watch this. I'm not here. Oh, volume.
The two surviving roommates.
Now we'll start it over again. Let's try that one more time. And the creator that made this is awesome.
Most of us believe the two surviving roommates, Bethany and Dylan, were sleeping on the first floor. Since then, we've learned Dylan was sleeping here on the second floor, along with Xana and Ethan located here. Kaylee and Madison were located here on the third floor. The dog was located on the third floor and the room by itself. Let's move around and see through the walls, into the kitchen, to the back slider, and take a look at the time frames. At 4:04 a.m., the suspect can be seen trying to park his car. At 4:09, approximately 5 minutes later, he enters the house through the back slider. At 4:18, he leaves the house after committing the crimes. At 4:20, he's caught on camera driving away at a high rate of speed. All of this only took 9 minutes. Let's watch what that looks like. The suspect enters through the back sliding door. There's the first bedroom he stops at and opens the door. He sees no one there. He continues to the next bedroom. Here we know what happens. Downstairs, Dylan is sleeping. The noise from upstairs wakes her up. She thinks it's Kaylee playing with her dog. She gets up and goes to the door and looks out. She sees nothing there. The suspect then continues down the stairs about 3 minutes later. He then heads to Xana's room. Outside, there's a security camera picking up some whimpering, cries, and a thud at 4:17. We've learned that Xana was found on the floor, which might explain the thud. Dylan again hears something and looks outside her door. She sees the suspect. He walks right past her and leaves.
Okay, so that's the whole thing on that one. We will pause this. So I'm scrolling the name of the creator on TikTok who created this. Definitely deserves 100% credit for this. It was so well done, like so well done. So if you want to follow her, there's her name. She's aspiring to do more things like that, but as you can see, that was so well put together. So definitely giving her a shout out. If you want to follow her, screenshot that as her name, AZ, I guess, or As Get Industries or AZ Get Industries, however it is. But yeah, feel free to give her a follow. Okay, so first, thank you for coming over from the Pascal show. I so appreciate it, Penny. You have a question? The clothes. I'll throw your question up here so we can talk about it. The clothes he wore at the night of the murder, if you wash them, can they still carry DNA? 100% they can. So I'll share a story with you guys from when I worked in long-term care, the long-term care setting. Or long-term care facilities. Kimberly Clark the company Kimberly Clark did a study on things like towels and sheets, things that are, I don't want to say shared in a nursing home, but, that are community use that, you clean them and hand them back out, linen services. And they determined that no matter how many times you wash things, even with bleach, there are still going to be traces left of traces of MRSA, BRE, other superbugs, etc. So if those can survive all of that, molecular DNA definitely can. So maybe if they were soaked in bleach, like straight bleach for a long time, maybe. But my guess is that more than likely is that, in the 3 hours when that phone was off the next day, or even probably not on his drive home because he didn't really have enough time. I have a feeling that those clothes, everything that he wore that night is burned, because that would be the way to get rid of that. So yeah. Hopefully that answers your question, huh?
Does that mean every hotel, Airbnb?
Yes.
It's just
Yes.
disgusting. That's why you should bring your own sheets.
Yes, that's why you should travel with your own sheets, guys. I don't know why you spared the roommates. Can we discuss the self-intention? Yeah, we did that a little while ago, but we can definitely do it again, Tori. For you, we will definitely have that discussion again. Let me go back and find it. Bear with me 1 second while I do that. What was it called? It was, there it is. Boop. All right, bear with me 1 second here. I got to deal with all the spam on this site. All right, that's exactly who we want. Let's put the address in. Great. This will be a lot faster than last time. 132 King Road, Moscow. All right. I cannot get rid of this ad. It's very okay. So we're gonna, maybe that's how you get rid of it. It's just going to say, I hate these ads. Okay, anyways, let me get this pulled back up for y'all. All right, let's bring this back up. Okay, so let's close that out. So here we are. King Road and Queen Road are right here. So the house is on this road. Okay. Now, what we are looking at, I'll show you here. We are looking at AT&T towers because that is who we know he used. His phone number was AT&T. He got that AT&T number back in June. Okay. So that being said, there are two AT&T towers. So the AT&T is going to try not to roam him off to another tower if they don't have to. Could he? Yes, but will they? Probably not. So here are the two towers in Moscow. There's two that is going to service AT&T. So again, King Road is, where did it go? Oh, I lost it, but it's down here somewhere. Nevertheless, it's somewhere down here. It doesn't matter. Nevertheless, this is the tower that's going to service that area. Okay. So you have two in there. Now let's scroll out a little bit further and let's drive. Oh, how do I get rid of this? I love these ads. They're so great and they're tricky. You can't get rid of them. Whatever. Sorry about the ad. So we're going to go all the way over to Pullman. So there's one tower here coming into Pullman. There's another tower here and another tower here and another tower here. So whichever one's near his house, it looks like Pullman's kind of divided into a few areas. It's going to cover that. So now let's go back and look at the pings here. So my point is that it's got the correct towers. It's going to show him. It's not like he's pinging off. I think given the fact that it's such a rural area, it's going to be hard to. I think that looking at this, and obviously I could be wrong. I'm not an attorney. I'm not a huge tech guy when it comes to this kind of stuff. But to me, it seems like this will make it a lot harder to throw it out. Now, all that said, the quickest way from Moscow to Pullman and vice versa is this route right here. And by the way, this is, I think, where did they bring him into the Pullman Moscow airport? I can't remember. It doesn't matter. It's irrelevant. But here is the route that they take. It takes about 10 minutes, really quick. So you can easily catch that because you have the tower here, and whichever one from near his house that he would have passed. So it's easy to kind of track his route there. But on the night of the merge, when he came home, he didn't go this route. He went this route here, all the way down here. Okay, which takes about triple the time. And you can see there are some towers along the way, but there are few and far between. So, if it picks him up here, or picks him up here, picks him up here, down here, that gives you a really good idea of kind of what you're looking at and where he went. The next one's going to be there till he gets back into Moscow. And so then if one of these towers are his, this one's closer to WSU, which I would imagine this is going to be the one that services his phone. Then if it passes this one on the way back, or even this one, depending on coming up, it shows you for sure that he took that route. And in this area is a national park. And it looks like crosses into another state down here. I forget what state is it? Colorado? I forget what's right below Idaho. Somebody I'm sure will tell me. But anyways, so then it goes back into Washington, etc. So I think that the knife, because he crossed in here. And he just went to Washington. I was looking at the lines wrong. I think that the knife is somewhere in that national park. That's what I think. Well, he did. There's a straight line there. But yeah, I think that it's somewhere in here. He ditched it. And then somebody brought up a good point earlier in this stream, that said when the phone was off for 3 hours the next day, he might have stashed the knife here for the night. It's somewhere in this area, and then went back and got it the next day to permanently dispose of it. And I would imagine he could have done the same with the clothes at that point, because, you're in a national park. We learned from Gabby Petito that there's a lot of areas that people don't go. So he parks his car, goes on a little bit of a hike, in a desolate area, starts a fire, small fire, burns everything, discards the evidence of a fire. Even if it didn't, it wouldn't necessarily matter. And then goes about his way, turns the phone back on, and goes grocery shopping. So anyways, let me go back and look at the questions here, since we talked about this. Sorry, didn't mean to. So anyways. Yeah, I do too. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying, Farrah. I love YouTube because of the things that we can do. Like on TikTok, I can't pull this up and show you all this and run through with like a pointer. I mean, I think it's great personally. Sorry, Alyssa's she's coding over there. So let's see what other questions we had here. B-String Dateline said that he went into Xana's room first. I thought he went upstairs first. I believe that is the case as well, based on what they can get things wrong. People get things wrong. They're human. You expect a little bit higher, and maybe they know something that we don't. But based on what I think we know from Dylan, I don't know. Because you go back to that video, he either came down the stairs and passed her and went to the kitchen, or he came from Xana's room. I don't know which one was first. I honestly don't. So Shan asked what happens during the preliminary hearing. So what happens during the preliminary hearing is he will be able to enter a plea of guilty and not guilty. He is, in my opinion, beyond a doubt, going to say not guilty. They asked for 5 days for the preliminary hearing, meaning that they want to go through the evidence that the prosecution has, try to poke holes in it, and either get him possibly set for bail, which I don't think he will, or even get it dismissed, which again I don't think will happen. Ever watch My Cousin Vinny? It's like you're this is the South. You killed one of the. I forget exactly what. There's no way this isn't going to trial. There's no way this isn't going to trial, guys. But that means his car should have a lot of evidence. Yes. So let me pull this down. So yeah, his car should have a lot of evidence. So he cleaned it thoroughly. Okay, we know that. We know that that's what the FBI reported. He cleaned it thoroughly in Pennsylvania, but he probably cleaned it in Washington as well. Maybe he did that during the 3 hours, did a preliminary clean on it. But that being said, there's a lot of nooks and crannies and crevices in a car. Okay. And, you have stitching between the seats. You have between the seats. You have little gaps where, interior panels come together. You have the little gaps in the steering wheel where, your horn and your airbag are to the steering wheel so you can push it. There's gaps there. There's a lot of places that things can hide. And no matter how well he cleaned it, very likely it's pretty much impossible to get rid of everything at that point without him pulling the carpet, pulling the seats, pulling every interior piece, replacing all of it after cleaning everything with bleach. I mean, seatbelts. I mean, if you put a seatbelt on because, your car dings at you and you went on a 25-mile ride, if he had blood on it, there could be blood on the seatbelt that was left. So, yeah, I think that at one point somebody who was on Banfield referred to the car as a rolling crime scene. So Savannah kind of thinks what I think. I think that Maddie was the main target. And I still think that because Kaylee wasn't really supposed to be there. And I think that Xana and Ethan were collateral damage because they were awake. What's the probability that he wasn't there? I think very, very slim. I mean, they have they have photos of the car. I mean, maybe it doesn't have a license plate, but they have photos of the car driving up and down. And if they get a picture of the front of the car and the front of the car doesn't have a tag on it, then I think you have the argument because Washington and Idaho require front plates. Pennsylvania does not require a front plate, and there's no front plate on the car. If they can show that, then I think that's more. I mean, it's circumstantial, sure, but it's more evidence. It's like, hey, you have this white car, looks like an Elantra, passes the house 2, 3, 4 times. Does a turnaround because, of course, dude can't drive either. I mean, we know he can't drive. He gets pulled over all the time, and he can't do a turnaround. But that's beside the point. And you see the car going back and forth, and like, okay, it doesn't have front tags, even if we can't see the back. It's circumstantial, but it's just another thing to kind of throw on that. With the cell towers, he's going to use the shopping as his alibi. Many people from Pullman, Moscow shop there. 2 cell towers, his defense can put holes in, especially if you bought gas, food, etc. Okay, So normally I would agree with you on this, but I don't on this point, and I will respectfully I don't, and I will tell you why I don't. All of the times he went there, and Nicole kind of said it, there's no shopping at 3, 4, 5 in the morning. And he lives in Pullman, so why would he be out? It's weird hours to shop. Maybe a 24-hour Walmart. I don't know what Pullman and Moscow have. I know that a lot since COVID, a lot of Walmarts have stopped doing 24 hours. If any of them still do it at all, I don't know. So it's going to be really hard to say that. Maybe he could get away with that on the time he went there during the day. But I personally think that the time that he went there during the day, he used that as an opportunity to case the place, go into it, break in, look around. And that's, in my opinion, how he probably knew the way out of the house. Thought, what if he drove the other way but pinged off those towers? It would be impossible. He's not going to be able to drive. I can pull it back up. Let me see. I can find where this is. Here, let me do this. Don't do that. Let me pull this back up. That's impossible. Let me put this up here. It's impossible, and I'll show you why it's impossible. I love this thing, this feature. Okay, share. Because there's no way. They figured out his route based on pings. There's no way he's going to accidentally ping off this tower, this tower, this tower, these two, and even the ones that's right here. There's no way he's going to ping off of those accidentally by going this way. It's just not going to happen. You know, you have other towers that are along the way. You have the two here, this one, and then once you get back to Pullman, the phone, you know, his signal's going to take the path of least resistance, whatever's strongest, and that's going to be these towers here if you've driven that way. It's definitely not going to pick up down here. I'll leave that up so y'all can look. So I'm looking. Abby, I don't know the order of the killings, so I mean, I can't. You know, I get you why you're asking that, because I know you've asked that a couple of times before too. But I don't know the order, you know, with certainty, and I don't know why he went into Xana's room, whether she was a target or not. You know, again, my speculation is that Maddie was the target, the one and only target at one point, and everybody else was collateral damage. He didn't know Kaylee was there, and Xana and Ethan were up, maybe, and you know that's kind of what happened. Maybe that's my thought, but I don't know 100% for sure. You know, what if Xana was a target? I don't know.
Doesn't that make him a bad stalker?
He is a very bad stalker. Well, he's not good at driving, and he's not good at stalking. He's not good at crime because he leaves everything behind.
I feel like he would have had to have known that DoorDash was just delivered. There's no way he didn't see a light on. There's no way within 4 minutes he didn't witness it. He knew Xana had a boyfriend who, I mean, if you're gonna stalk somebody, wouldn't you know her boyfriend stays over sometimes?
Yeah.
Wouldn't you know that there's another
often
a Range Rover in the driveway that you haven't seen before because it was a new car? Was he just the worst stalker ever?
I don't know if y'all can hear all that, but those are all very valid points. I don't think Olivia is coming on, by the way, for what that's worth. Okay, I'm looking. So if people are like, Alyssa's beeping again, med check for you. Get a crash cart.
I'm not beeping.
You were earlier, I'm guessing. This was at 10:57. Yeah, there was Jack in the Box bag in the kitchen in the photos. Yes, there was. But we don't know how old that was either.
I feel anybody with half a brain, if they just wanted to wait, they would have waited till all the lights were out, not when somebody was up eating Jack in the Box, you know?
His window was probably closing, though. That was the issue, because it was getting to be, or, you know, it was for, you know, he left at the 4:15, 4:20-ish mark, right? So his time was running up. If he had waited another 45 minutes for them to eat and go to sleep, you know, it would have been, daylight would have been coming out.
He didn't know Dylan and Bethany lived there?
Well, I'm sure he did know, but they weren't the target. I guess he figured they'd be asleep. I don't know. This is all great questions.
I have tons of questions like
this. Hopefully y'all heard all that. After that, how soon till an actual trial? That's going to be dependent on what the available calendar is. Unfortunately, a lot of courts are still very backed up from COVID cases. Now, this is a very high profile case with a lot of death. So hopefully they'll move quickly on it, Shannon. But I don't know. I don't know. It could be 6 months, could be a year, could be less than that, could be more than that. Do you know if it's true if he called the noise complaints? I've heard that as a rumor. I've seen nothing that substantiates that, and I would just take that as a rumor at this point. The way that I kind of look at it as a rule of thumb, Caitlin, is that if the police didn't release it or it hasn't come out in a report that's official or done by an official news source, just assume not to believe it. There's a lot of incorrect information, and even some news sources get information incorrect. For example, Fox News, and this is not a Fox versus CNN versus other news networks debate. I'm just saying that Fox, typically when it comes to cases like this, especially, is usually fairly reliable. But in this case, they made I shared a couple articles that I ended up having to retract and take down because they were incorrect. One of those was the fact that they said that FBI they did a whole article about how the FBI had asked the Indiana police to stop them, and that's why they stopped Price, because allegedly they wanted to get a video of his hands or arms or something, and none of that was true. It just was a coincidence, apparently, or at least so we're told. No way prosecution will offer a plea either. No, I mean, at this choice, though, what your pleas are death or not death. You're going to either die in prison or you're going to die in prison, but a lot sooner by lethal injection. He could have, up until I think 2009, he could have had firing squad, but they took that off the table. Are you asleep?
No. I'm going to go to sleep after this.
Why does he have a no contact order while he's in jail? Caitlin with another good question. He has no contact order because that's just pretty standard at this point for something like that. It's basically just a formality. So I mean, there's not really much more to it than that, but it's a good question. I missed the question there about. Will the defense know the evidence? Yes. So okay. So in discovery, yes, they can voir dire the. That's not from my cousin Vinny there. They have to share it. It's an obligation by law. You killed a good old boy. That was the line. Thank you, Megan. Yeah, you're from New York. You killed a good old boy. There ain't no way this isn't going to trial. That's what it was. God, that's a great movie. We should stream that one day on TikTok and see if they take us down. Yeah, there'll be hemoglobin no matter how hard he cleans it unless he sprayed it in acid, which if he sprayed it in acid, that will be evident too. Do I think Ethan or Xana were killed first? Why? I think that Kaylee and Maddie were killed first. Because I think that one of them, I think that Maddie was a target. Does the defense know what the prosecutors have now? So with discovery, it can take a bit of time for them to share information, but I would imagine that a lot, if not all of it, has probably been taken over. But there's also still an ongoing investigation. So as they find more and they process, Judy said it too. As they find more, she said it may still being processed, so probably not yet. As they're still processing things, they'll have to turn it over as they have. But yeah, the stuff that they do have is probably already with them. Yeah, I think the car is going to be a big smoking gun. I think the car is going to be real bad. He could have wrapped the interior of the car in plastic wrap, maybe but that's a lot of things because you can do that, but you can't get every piece of it. That's the thing. You're still going to leave crevices, but maybe, and that would be a lot of plastic wrap to throw away. Maybe though. Oh, I love the question that Teresa just asked. I mean, it's not overly. It doesn't seem to me overly logical that somebody would have seen him out saran wrapping his car, because that would take some serious time. So Teresa says, why do you think he didn't get rid of the car? Just arrogant. So actually, while Dateline was on, her and I were talking very quietly, And if he had ditched the car in a lake somewhere, he would probably walk free. I mean, I don't know what they found.
Hop the border to Canada.
Yeah, and hop the border to Canada. Canada extradites, though.
No.
But he could have gotten somewhere from Canada. He wouldn't have been on Canada's radar at all at the time. So, and you're close. I mean, from Idaho, from Washington, you're like, you know, they're down here, and that's Canada up there. So, I mean, it would have been a much quicker drive than Pennsylvania. Just saying. What do you think a cell phone data will show? Is that more accurate than the cell towers? Are they tracked by GPS too? I don't know. Farrah, that's a good question, and I honestly don't know the answer to that. But I do think that when we look at the cell phone towers that we look at and where they picked him up, I think that it's going to be a pretty difficult argument for him. I'll take this off. I think it's going to be a pretty difficult argument for him. So I'm going to put that back on since I'm there. I want followers. Let me see this. Going back. The hands were wrapped in handbags, which I don't know. Do I think the WSU shooting is related? No, I don't. I did at one point think they were going to pin it on the shooter or the guy who got shot. But they didn't. They didn't. But no, it's not. It's not related at all. It's just like the Wild West out there, guys. But Dylan actually saw him or just peeked out the door. Both. She had peeked out the door and saw him. I don't know if any cars, like the car is new enough that I don't think it would have built-in GPS like the old cars used to have. I don't think so. So, Abby, I think that Maddie was the target because Kaylee wasn't. Kaylee had already moved out. She wasn't supposed to be there. She also didn't have her regular car. She had the Range Rover because she brought the Range Rover up. She had just bought it to show her friend Maddie. So I don't think that Bryan would have known necessarily that she was there. I think that Maddie, that's why I feel Maddie was a target. And I think that when you talk about, both of the girls were laying in the, they were in the same bed in the dark with, the adrenaline running and everything, he might have mistaken Kaylee for Maddie, which is why her wounds might have been worse. This is just my thought. Or my wife seems to think that maybe Kaylee woke up, tried to stop, and that's why he pissed him off, and that's why the wounds are worse. I don't know which, but I think that Maddie was the target, and Kaylee just happened to be there. If you're innocent, why are you dumping garbage in your neighbor's garbage bins? Yeah, 100%. So he cleans his car. He wears surgical gloves. He then takes the garbage, walks it. These are half an acre to an acre, 3/4 of an acre lots. Walks a pretty good distance to dump it in his neighbor's trash can. And he's doing this at like 3, 4 in the morning because dude loves to do things in the dark of the night. So Judy, love the question. Why did they only identify one shoe print? It did take a lot of science calls to understand how molecular structures are left behind. Yeah, I understand it to a point, but not enough to break it down. And I believe that they just found, molecular data. They didn't find a full. They found, I guess, the outline of the print. I don't know. I don't know how to answer that question. I think it's a great question. If somebody in the chat has an answer to it, awesome. Okay, I am about 10 minutes behind on questions. So let me try to scroll a little bit. I'm looking at the 11:01 time frame right now, and I try to answer all the questions before I get off. Yeah, he would have known people work. I kind of want DoorDash now. I'm kind of hungry. I kind of want to work. You want Taco Bell? They still open? You want fourth meal? Okay. I'm hungry. You're not?
You're not supposed to use this thing for more than 30 minutes.
Why? Well, don't ignore it. They say that about the hot tub too, but I stay in there for like 2 hours. It's fine. You'll be fine. Who had the worst injuries and why do you think? It's been said that Kaylee had the worst injuries, and for the reasons that I had just said a few minutes ago, I think is why. Do we think that he was at the party Friday night? I don't know. I don't know. He had, I don't know if, I guess, Danny, you're asking about the trim level. I don't know. Let's see if we can pull up the body or the traffic stop and let's see if we can, they showed the back of the car. Let's see if we can figure out what trim level it is for Danny. And she can tell us if she has it. Give me a second here. Stops. Let's see if we can find the videos on this. Let me get this pulled up for y'all. Let's see if, I don't know if this is going to have it. I think it will. No, I don't want that. All right, let's see what we get. I think I can probably pause it. Oh no, we got one. Let's see. All right, I don't want that there. So it doesn't look like on the back. Go back a little. It doesn't look like we see any trim level, but let's keep it. Just as Elantra. Yeah, so it doesn't look like we have the trim level. So I don't know. No, I don't know. All right, so now we'll get rid of that. And sorry, guys. Do I think Papa Rogers was Bryan? Do we think Papa Rogers was Bryan?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I don't know. I also don't know about Inside Looking. I'll say this. Both Inside Looking and Papa Rogers kind of had the same online personality, the same kind of demeanor, right? Would you say? Mm-hmm. They both knew a lot of stuff that turned out to be very accurate, or speculated a lot of stuff that turned out to be very accurate. With all of that said, I think it's entirely possible. I wouldn't be surprised if they came back and said that he was. I was going through the thing. I'm seeing y'all's comments, but I'm looking through. Talked about the party. I'm trying to get back. The built-in GPS navigation option is available in selected models of, I'm going to throw this up there, of Hyundai Elantras. So there you go. Let's go back to this video for a second. I'm curious about something. Curious. I want to see what the interior looks like. Is it cloth or leather? Let's keep looking. That's not showing that change in the car. Keep showing the same. That's not helpful, guys. I'm curious if the car's cloth or leather vinyl. Look. What was open at 4 a.m. DoorDash, though? I see people comment there wasn't anything open. This is a college town. There was something open, because how many times in college I went to school in a small, my first 4 years of college, we're in a very small town, and there was always something open. I mean, we didn't have DoorDash back then. We had to go get it, but there was always something else. In fact, we actually had the idea of DoorDash back then. Before DoorDash, we did remember that. Like, there should be a service that just brings you food when you're drunk.
We even named it and everything.
What did we name it?
I can't remember.
This was like, seriously, we never, Alyssa and I come up with ideas and then we never follow through on them. Hence why there's no podcast or merch store yet. Is it true about him calling in the noise complaints? That I don't know. Thank you, which I think it's a good discussion tonight too. Well, thank you, Carrie. I appreciate you coming over from TikTok and supporting over here too. Who is DD? Do we know who DD is? I don't know. Don't know. That's not Dylan. Dylan is DM. So I'm at 11:06. So I'm like 15 minutes behind. So I'm still going. What if someone was his getaway driver and picked him up in his car? So I highly doubt, and I think that he did this alone. This is not. I don't feel like this is something. Sharing this type of thing with somebody would be very, very difficult to do. I don't think that one, Bryan is the type of guy to share it. Plus, it gives you a loose end that you would have to tie up. I mean, again, I could be wrong. If they end up coming up with somebody else, then we'll know that. But I really doubt it. And there's one quote when we talk about there being multiple people in a situation like this. I like to reference a Ben Franklin quote. He references 3 people and it works for 2 people. 3 people can keep a secret when 2 of them are dead. 2 people can keep a secret when 1 of them is dead. So I think that if he did have an accomplice somebody did that night, they would have either already picked that person up or that person would have already said something. Just try to save their ass. On the June date, will it just be to enter a plea? Correct. It'll be to enter a plea, but they've asked for 5 days, so they're also going to go through evidence. They may very well try to get things thrown out. No, I don't think there's more than one perpetrator. No, I didn't. I haven't seen that, Penny. I haven't seen that reported anywhere. What news channels reported that? So did you? Penny said, "Did you see where one of the news channels reported Bryan first met Kaylee at a Washington bar where she first had her birthday party?" I hadn't heard that yet. Mm-hmm. No, I hadn't heard that yet. Can I trouble you for a favor? Mm-hmm. Could I get you to grab me a water? Mm-hmm. My voice is.
Yeah.
They're in that little fridge over there.
Yeah, I'll get it. I'm about to go upstairs now.
Okay. I just want to answer these questions and then I'll do that. Oh, this is a fun question. You might want to come weigh in on this one. What do you think about him having a woman judge and woman lawyer based on what we've heard about his interactions with women?
I think that it's awesome.
Karma's a bitch?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think this has not crossed my mind. I love this. I'm gonna leave this up. I like it so much till I find something else. The 420. I don't know if it's the same spot out front or the gas station footage. He would have been leaving about 420. So either caught him speeding off at that point, or thank you so much. Either caught him speeding off at that point at the house, or so much better, or the gas station caught him. I'm not sure which, because the gas station is not far. Okay, I am way behind on this. Okay, I'm going to scroll all the way down to get caught up. If I missed a question, ask it again. I'm sorry. Otherwise, I'm just never going to get caught up with you guys. It's hard. Now let's go up a little bit from here. Because I'm like talking about something y'all asked like 15 minutes ago. And I don't want to, I haven't seen this either, Danny. Where is it? I'm gonna look for that. Y'all, it's amazing. Y'all find some of this stuff before me. Wow, this is an interesting. Okay, this is an interesting story to do something about. I'm gonna go ahead and save that. That'll be a story you guys will find entertaining. That accidentally popped up while I was searching for this. All right, thank you, Penny. Thank you for sending that. I will tell her. She just left the room, Doug, but I will tell her. And thank you for making it over to my YouTube. Surprised his parents would help him get a. Okay, so I'll talk about this. This is a good question. So Shannon, his parents did not help him get a lawyer. He has a public defender, which is a right granted to everybody. You know, if you can't afford an attorney, it's like in the Miranda rights. You have the right to an attorney. If you can't afford an attorney, one will be provided for you. This is the attorney that's being provided for him because his family doesn't have money. Somebody asked another question. He would still have said a comment. He would still have the option to ask for a new attorney if he wasn't comfortable having female representation. He would, but at the same time, he doesn't want to probably go to prison or be killed. And as far as public defenders go, you're not going to get much better than Ann Taylor. You look at what she's done. She's, the chief public defender in the office. She's no joke. So, if you have a public defender, you probably want one of the best public defenders in the state, and I would imagine that she is. Why do I think? Oh, Caitlin, you have so many good questions tonight. Why do you think he asked if anyone else was arrested? I think it's because I think he's trying to throw people off. Okay, so for what it's worth, or I'll just throw this up here. Yeah. Janda just said, I'm on the West Coast watching 2020 now, and I think they did better than Dateline. So we might have to do something on TikTok for Dateline. Oh, Barb, I love your question here. I'm going to throw this up. Why do you think he made so many careless mistakes, being that he studied and taught criminology? I think there's one of really two, maybe three reasons, Max. I think one is either he wanted to get caught as some kind of weird experiment to see if he could get off, get away with murder, essentially. I don't know how much I really believe that or how much I buy that myself. I think it's definitely a possibility, but not whatever. I also, I'll say this, would you rather have the student that made straight A's? If you had to have a lawyer, would you rather have a student that made straight A's in law school and just passed the bar, has a great understanding of everything with the law, or do you want the student that graduated 10 years ago with all C's, but has, a court record, a win record that's nearly unmatched by anybody else? I think that academics, while great and definitely necessary when studying this, does not beat, years and years of field experience. And, when you're in that moment, you're taking 4 lives. I don't think he anticipated taking 4 lives that night. Taking 4 lives, he messed up. He prepared, but he messed up because I think that it was just too much. I think he was probably overwhelmed. And again, you can study this and think that you've got it because you're good at taking the test. You get good grades. You can write the papers, but it doesn't mean that when you get into reality that it's still going to work out that way. But I love your question. I think this is such a great question. Or as Judy said, option 3, because he was crazy. But he's not crazy, but he's off, guys. He's off. Okay, we'll do 2020. Not right now, but we'll do it. Did his dad know what he did? Caitlin gets to be up on the board again. I personally don't think his dad knew. So when I covered Gabby Petito, you kind of get hunches about things, and their hunches said they're not obviously foolproof. They're not science, but My hunch was Christopher Laundrie was a victim of Roberta Laundrie. Brian Laundrie was a product of Roberta, and Roberta knew everything. And I think with the most recent data that has come out, I still think that Roberta knew everything. I still think that Chris is a victim. Rose Davis, Gabby's friend, thinks that Chris is a victim as well. And this is kind of the same thing here. I think that his parents seem like we haven't heard anything from the mom, really. His dad seems like a good guy. Even when they put out the statement, before they even spoke about their son first, they talked about the victims. They put the victims first, even in their statement. I personally get the feeling, get the vibe that his parents are decent people. There was also a Reddit, I don't know if it was Reddit or somewhere. His mom apparently was playing like one of those games, like those decorator type games where you get to decorate houses, and they have a message board for all the older ladies can go and chat. And she was on it, like bragging about her son, how he just graduated with his master's degree. He's getting ready to go to Washington, doesn't know anybody out there. But he's going to get his PhD. And she was, beaming about her son. I think that this came as much of a surprise to his parents as it did to everybody else when he got arrested. He was sloppy because he was drunk or high. I don't believe that he was drunk or high. He left very, very little traces behind. He had a plan. He stuck to it, and you don't do what he did the way he did, being with your mind fogged from anything. He was also a good student. So yes, my opinion, I'm going to throw this up here. I'm not picking on you, I promise. I think that we know that Brian was a heroin addict when he was like a teenager, which, that's a hell of a drug. That's a hell of a starter drug, especially when you're a teenager. You go back and you look at his posts when he was a teenager, the ones on Tap and Talk, and this is a troubled kid. He realizes he's aware of it. He's aware that he's troubled. He's aware that he has these issues. Even he says in that point that his dad's good people, and he's trying to self-diagnose, get help. So he does these drugs, and again, this is my personal opinion, my personal speculation. I've compared him before, even in these lives, to Dexter. And I don't mean by Dexter like, oh, Dexter was a good serial killer because he killed, people who deserved it. I'm talking about the fact that, Dexter was on the police force. Brian did security and applied to be on the Pullman police force, dealing with like cloud forensics. Dexter did forensics. So he wanted to do that with technology and bring that to the rural community. And I think that too, Dexter always talked about his dark passenger that he had to basically keep happy, so to speak. I think that Brian had a dark passenger, and when he was younger, he tried to self-diagnose himself. I think then he tried to silence it with drugs. And then I think when he realized that drugs were not the way to go, his new drug became his studies. He put himself into a studies. I mean, you got to think about it. He would have graduated high school at 18, right? So he's 28, a decade ago. And for a decade, he has thrown himself into his studies. He comes off apparently as very intelligent. And there is a difference between intelligence and common sense. My brother, who also happens to be an attorney, he is very, very intelligent, but he has the common sense of a rock. Love him, but it's just how it is. And I think a lot of times the more intelligent that you are, academic wise, the less common sense that you often have. So I think that that's kind of part of it. But I think that, I think that the drugs when he was younger were to try to silence his dark passenger, then his studies were, and then finally they couldn't be silenced anymore. Yeah, I've heard that too, Judy. I was actually thinking about that when I said it. A students become professors, B students become judges, C students make the money. Do I think the years of heroin use fried his frontal lobe? I think that years of a drug like that definitely take its effect on you. Oh, Jeremy, great analogy. Fantastic. Just because you have the recipe to bake a cake doesn't mean that you can bake a cake. Love that. Am I close to my watch hours? I don't know if my lives are counting towards my watch hours. I don't know. Let me see. Let's go look real quick. I'll tell you because I got my phone. Let's see where we're at. All right. Okay, I'm at almost 2,800 subscribers, so thank you guys. And as of right now, because I'm sitting at 2243 public watch hours, but I don't think it. I think it'll update again in the morning, and or after we get off this live. But so I'm a little more than halfway there. The other option is if everybody wants to watch everything to the point that I get 10 million views, they'll go ahead and get rid of the watch hour requirement. Currently, I'm at just less than 10,000 views. So thank you for asking, Tori. They play a message Bryan requesting a haircut appointment. Okay, I need to find that. Okay, so I get behind again talking to you guys. You guys ask great questions. He has siblings. I forget. He's got just one. I know he's got at least one sister. He might have two. Yeah, two sisters, Heather said. Okay. I have to scroll down more and y'all answer the questions. Okay, I'm only 2 minutes behind. Okay, we're gonna have to figure out something to stream the 2020 episode. We will do it. We'll figure it out. Okay, Shannon, thank you for saying that. So coming from someone who's worked with addicts, a new addiction usually forms in replacement for the drug in forms of people, etc. Yeah, it's kind of like I'm ADHD and it's kind of like obsessions. I'll have one obsession and I'll hyper focus on that. And then when I get done with it or get bored with it or whatever, I hyper focus on something else. So that in that kind of regard, I totally get it. And that's true. They have, if you have an addictive personality, you're going to need something. So his addiction became his studies. And honestly, that's much better than heroin. So you can bake a good pound cake. That's awesome. They check the cell towers days leading up to the crime. I think like every time Caitlin says something, it's a good enough question to throw it up here. You have good questions. You really do. Nicole, I don't know what I was talking about when you said you need to put that out on TikTok. So please let me know because I don't know what I was talking about at that point in time. Did they check all the cell towers on the days leading up to the crime? So they ended up getting a warrant and the ability to trace the phone back to when he first got it, which was in June, or either when he first got it or when he first got to Moscow, maybe both. And they were able to determine that he had been at, the cell towers that serve the house at 1122 King Road have pinged his phone at 12 times. All the times late at night, early morning hours, or one time during the day. So yes, they did have that all the way up until current. And that's how they also showed that he, I can, Doug, if I can figure it out. I can't do it on here, Doug. I think I have to do it on YouTube. I forget how I did it. I'll figure it out, Doug. But yes, I'm happy to do that. Yeah. Yeah, if I can figure out, for some reason, I did it the other day, but I don't know how to do it now. I'll have to figure it out. I might have to go to YouTube directly to do it. You have OCD? Yeah, Olivia does, for sure. I have ADHD, so I'm just like, do I think he also killed the fraternity guy? No, I want to talk about this. No, I don't think he killed the guy, and I'm blanking on his name. It started with a D. Somebody will tell me. But no, it was interesting though that he knew all these people that have died in that area. I mean, I don't know. Nothing was ever confirmed about Heather, the girl that was allegedly Maddie's roommate, that allegedly people had made the rumor that Maddie bullied her to the point that she took her own life. I don't know if that's true. This particular person, who somebody's going to give me his name, Hudson. His name was Hudson. Thank you. That's what it was. Hudson Lindau. That was his name. He knew Maddie. There was pictures of him with like them and, with fraternity and all that kind of stuff. So there's weird how like all these people, if Heather too did know them, it's interesting that all of these people that knew each other all passed away in the last year. We can possibly find a 2020 on. We'll find it. We'll find it. There's ways to find it. Why did he drive the car, not fly? So a lot of people are under the assumption that he was afraid to fly. I don't know if that's true. I don't think he necessarily was. I think the true reason he wanted to drive is he wanted to get that car the hell out of Idaho, out of Washington. I think he wanted a chance to clean it. I don't know if he had come back from the break, if he would have still had that car. Honestly. Do I think he would have continued if not caught? 100%. But the way I understand it, and Alyssa and I one time listened to this podcast, and they were talking about serial killers, and serial killers don't like go back to back to back to back to back. Sometimes they can have hiatus periods of a fairly long time, honestly. And, you know, a year, 2 years in between killings, months, sometimes weeks, depends, when they finally come down off that high. So and they pick their next victim. So a lot of people, including the BTK killer, believe that he had FBI agents, a lot of law enforcement people, professors believe that he had serial killer tendencies. To take, you know, a lot of people kill more than one person for their first kill. And the biggest example of that is mass shooters, school shooters, which is a different discussion and a different problem. But they might kill, you know, a lot of people at once, but a gun isn't personal, right? Like a knife is up close and personal. You can shoot somebody with a gun from 100 feet away, you know, like the guy did in Vegas from the window. He just opened fire on a crowd. That's not personal. But to do a knife, kill 4 people on your first kill, I think that's not normal. The story about the fraternity guy Hudson, basically he drowned in a nearby river, and that police ruled it no foul play, just accidental death. Okay, so I want Kelly, good question as well. So I think I'm calling up here a little bit. I think his dad drove back with him because I think he was a good dad. I think he was like, you know what, son, it's 36-hour drive. I got nothing going on. I'll come keep you company. I truly don't think it was anything more than that. Why do I think they called the Jacks as many times as they did? Yeah, I'll throw that up there just because that does happen, especially in smaller college towns. Alcohol can be a problem. Which apparently his dad already purchased the plane ticket months prior. So I think, yeah, I agree. I don't think his dad knew. So Shelby asked this question: why? I don't know. We've talked about speculations on that. Maybe it's because they thought they heard somebody and they were trying to get his help, or maybe it was just drunk dialing. You know, I don't know. Yes, they are. So this is true. They think that this was Bryan's first time, but at the same time, they feel that it's worth, now they have his DNA and a name, it's worth checking some of their cold cases. Do I think he knew there were 2 others in the house? Caitlin, yes. I do think that he probably knew either that he was a terrible stalker. It's one of the two. Do I think he's committed a crime before that he hasn't been caught for? Yes, because I don't think I do. I do, because I don't think that you go from 0 to 100. Like, you don't go from doing absolutely nothing to viciously, brutally murdering 4 people. I'm reading a couple of things before I make sure. Okay. I think that his plan, yeah, he didn't want to raise any eyebrows. You know, him not finishing out the semester would have definitely 100% raise some eyebrows, right? I find it very peculiar about him switching the license plates, though. Oh yeah, that's another. Purchasing heroin is a crime too. That's a good point. I think it was probably his first human kill. Typically, people like this start out with animals, and there did happen to be that dog that was. I think they used the term filleted. Buddy the dog, in that area, in that area. You call your husband the smartest, dumbest person you know. That's funny. I'm just scrolling up. Why would he not leave after the girls? Probably because Xana and Ethan were up. His tag was expiring. That's true. It is true. It was expiring at the end of the month. But I can tell you that I know this from first-hand experience that if his car was registered in Pennsylvania, Washington could not give him a ticket for an expired tag. They could give him a ticket for something else, but not for an expired tag. He could only do that when he got back to Pennsylvania. So he was going to go back to Pennsylvania in a couple of weeks. Why didn't just get it renewed then? And typically, too, you don't have to register the car in Washington, or the state that you're in if you're a student, which he was. So, I mean, yes, the timing is interesting. It could have maybe it was as simple as the tags were expiring. Yes, thank you, Farrah. I'm not going to be on much longer because I am getting tired. I'm just getting caught up. I think I'm caught up. Were the traffic stops made on purpose to identify cuts on the hands? No, it's not been confirmed that they were. That was originally reported by Fox, but it's not believed to be so. I think it's entirely. You get tags in Washington. Can you get tags in Washington? Yeah. Well, the only thing that I don't know, I'm going to find out. Let me look up something. I'm just curious about it. So in Pennsylvania, you would have to get. Hold on. He hadn't owned the car very long. I think he'd only owned the car for about a year. Not even. I think he bought it. And it says that in Pennsylvania, you have to get emissions redone every 2 years. So he probably could have reordered it. I don't know, Holly. I think he made a. Nobody said the order of kills officially, no. Yeah, that's true too. To change state tags would be a pain if you still had a loan on 100%. They already have his actual DNA. Now that he's in custody, they have it. I mean, frankly, the first time he ate or took a drink while he was in custody or went to the bathroom, they could get his DNA from that. But I mean, they already had it from the match with his dad, and I'm sure they've ran it again. Nobody was bound and gagged in this particular. Bryan didn't bind or gag anybody. All right, guys. Well, it is 10 to midnight where I am. So I'm going to get ready to head off. I will answer that question, Farrah, before I do, though. But if you don't follow me on here already, I'm guessing most of y'all probably do. Please do. If not, thank you guys so much for hanging out. We will continue to do this. I will try to figure out a time to stream 2020. I'm probably going to try to not live stream. We'll see what happens if I do or not this weekend because I do want to spend time with my family. But Farrah, yeah, I personally, if I were him, I would have sold the car. I did not see a Facebook post about that, but I don't believe that. I don't believe it, Madeline. That Facebook group is a dumpster fire. I try to ignore most of it because most of it is speculations, theories, and false information. So, all right, everybody have a fantastic night, a great weekend. Stay safe, and we will do this again soon. Have a good night. Bye.